The other day I had a question out of my Facebook group and asked, Ryan, should I be taking caffeine? If so, how much? What should I do? I'll talk about all that and more coming up next. Okay, so let's talk about caffeine. So like most things in nutrition, it's very individual specific. That said, there are some common things that everybody should consider. Now, first and foremost, let me start out by saying if you're not sure, check with your doctor, okay? Because if you've got any sort of conditions, medical conditions, medications, anything like that, it could interact and probably would interact with caffeine. So make sure you talk to your doctor if you're not sure. Okay, that being said, getting that out of the way. So one of the things to consider first is your body weight, okay? So somebody who's a lot bigger versus say somebody who's smaller, you know, it's gonna have a more of a tolerance to caffeine, okay? But that's not always the case. You know, some people who are extremely sensitive to caffeine, they might be big individuals. So you have to really assess your tolerance to caffeine to see, you know, what is your best dose. Caffeine itself can be beneficial, okay? There are studies out there that show it can help with brain function, it can help with athletic performance, strength and power, but just like most things in life, too much can be a bad thing. So you have to, again, assess your tolerance. Now, there's different forms of sources of caffeine, all right? Right now, energy drinks are prevalent. You know, that's an option. You've got your pre-workouts. You've also got foods are infused with caffeine often. Of course, let's not forget the old standby, coffee. Who doesn't love coffee? I love coffee. So there's different sources and various amounts. Thankfully, the food labels are much more specific now and have to break down what's in there. If you see something that says it contains caffeine but doesn't say how much, you know, beware, and I'd walk away from that. That said, look at those labels and determine the dose. You know, like an energy drink a lot of times has about 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's a pretty hefty dose. Myself, I'm about 100 milligrams and I feel good on that. So whether it's a pre-workout, you know, energy drink or whatever, you know, check that caffeine content. Also, be aware that some of those things have other ingredients that can affect that stimulus, you know, whether it's another type of stimulant, maybe it's other components that help with brain function or blood flow increase, things like that. Some of those will interact and you have to be aware of that. So some other things to consider is some of these energy drinks, I mean, they're tasty. I mean, who wouldn't love rainbow unicorn and white? I mean, those sound delicious. But they're they taste good, so it's easy to drink a lot of it quickly, and before you know it, you've had way too much. So beware of that. Also, talking about coffee here, there are some other health benefits there. It's got flavonoids, antioxidants, you know, just like chocolate, just like red wine, coffee, too much of all of that can be too much and a bad thing. So take that into consideration. So caffeine is absorbed through the small intestine. Usually starts about 45 minutes and then it peaks at about 1 to 2 hours. Now the washout period, or the amount of time it takes to get over that, depends on the individual and of course how much is in you, but anywhere between 4 and 7 hours. So consider the timing. You know, if you've got some sort of an event that you want to time your caffeine intake on, you know, figure 1 hour or so, you're going to get the peak benefit of it. Similarly, if you're planning your day, look about when you want to get to bed. And that's another consideration we really want to talk about here is your sleeping pattern. What you want to stay away from is getting on this vicious cycle of, you know, lots of caffeine, little sleep. Lots of caffeine and little sleep. And then that just continues to snowball. You know, you want to get your circadian rhythm leveled out. So, you know, take that caffeine, either the amount or the time appropriately so you don't throw off your sleep cycle. So we've talked about some of the benefits of caffeine. What are some of the negative side effects? Well, I think we all know what those are. I mean, racing heart rate, anxiety, nervousness, upset stomach. Those things can all be detrimental. Also for athletic performance, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing an activity that is going to increase your heart rate, well, you probably don't want to increase it any more than you're already going to. I mean, again, a little bit maybe, but you don't want to get that heart rate going way over time when you are going to be pushing it. Similarly, if you're doing something that you have to focus on, or if your nerves are already going to be going, then if you have too much caffeine, it can increase that and overstimulate you. Then you get all jittery and you don't know which way's up, and it's just a bad deal. So those are negative consequences of doing too much caffeine. Again, a little bit is better than too much. All right, so like I said, this is very individual, and you're gonna have to use some trial and error to see what level is best for you. Again, there's a lot of people out there that just stay away from it, and that's great, It is going to give you some benefits, but at the same time, it can lead to some negative consequences. So have to do some experimentation. As always, start conservatively and go up from there. I used to always have a general rule of thumb is no caffeine after 3 p.m. But it just depends on that person. But again, be careful, consult your doctor if you're not sure. Hey guys, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please hit the like button below. Consider subscribing to my channel and share it with others. Again, thank you for watching. Until next time, keep making every day count.